So we'll get right to it. We have, well, my name's Andy Malone. I think I know as I'm seeing the names pop up. I believe I'm seeing a bunch of people that I know as well, but also to anyone who is new to uh, running or skiing here. Welcome to everyone. I'm Andy Malone. I'm the head middle school coach for Nordic, and I teach seventh grade social studies as well. Um, and we have two coaches that are joining us supporting middle school. One is Tamara Sather, who is a high school social studies teacher, former head coach of both Chaska and Eden Prairie's programs. So a lot of skiing experience, a lot of coaching experience. Tamara's on with us right now. So Tamara, you want to just say hi?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Tamara Sather here. But I have to correct, I was just a an assistant coach at Chaska for 7 years, not
Oh
the
my
head
gosh.
coach. Yeah, yeah,
Well, I will
yeah,
update that. Yes.
yes, yeah, no problem. Glad to
Okay.
be here.
Yep, we're happy to have you. Tamara's a good friend, and I've known Tamara for a long time, so it's great to have her coaching with us as well.
Yeah, I'm
And then,
excited.
yeah, we're happy to have you. And then also Molly Malone, who is works here in the district with Community Ed and Alumni Relations, and she's also a cross country and track coach at the high school, and we are super lucky to have her join us. Molly, do you want to say hi?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can see me or not.
Yeah,
Yep,
we
we
can.
can.
Oh, all right. Hi. Yeah, I grew up skiing. Andy is my brother. And so when the opportunity to coach Nordic and jump back into this sport that I've taken a bit of a hiatus from, I was so excited to be a part of this program again. Love Nordic skiing. It's a great group of kids. And I know there are a lot of familiar faces coming from cross country. But looking forward to a great season and hopefully we'll have some snow.
Yes, that is the one thing that is nice is that there might be some. Um, I saw that Siberia is getting cold. There's lots of ice being made in Siberia and lots of snow, and that's a good sign for us. So Sven Sundgaard, you better be right about that. Tonight we're going to get through what practices look like, what meets look like, what transportation looks like, equipment, and then questions and answers. Um, and so we will just hum right into it. But before we have snow, we do dry land training here at the I'm just gonna stop. Okay, we do dry land training. Um, and we try not to make this cross country running. Skiing, what
Keep
makes a
going.
great skier is not always the same thing
Stay there.
that makes a great runner. And so we have very ski specific things that we do work on. Fitness is really important in Nordic skiing, but some of the best skiers on the high school team um, are soccer players in the fall, are volleyball players, are swimmers. And so you do not need to have a specific, you don't need to be a great long distance runner to be a great skier. Fast twitch is much more um, of an advantage in Nordic skiing than it would be in cross country running. So we always say, or I always say, a 5K cross country ski, which is the races that your kids will be skiing this year, is like an 800 in track. That's kind of the effort, that's kind of the pace at which we're going at. And so a middle distance kid, a fast twitch muscle kid, um, who might not be fabulous at cross country can do really well in Nordic skiing. So our practices specific to the middle school before we have snow are after school Monday through Thursday 4:20 to 5:30. We have an activity bus after. There are a couple days where we will hop on a bus and head over to the high school to join the high school for practice. One of those days will be the first week of practice, the day that we have the pack meeting, which is the second day of practice, which is Tuesday the 12th, is the pack meeting. We will, our practice will be hopping on a bus after school at the middle school, taking it to the high school. And then the parent athlete coaches that night as well. So um, that is the first week of practice in November. And then the second week of practice for the equipment lottery will be another day where we hop on a bus. But until we get snow, until we get our skis, we are at the middle school Monday through Thursday. The high school team is at the high school during that time doing their dry land. And then hopefully we have snow and we don't need to have our big Starring Lake Six Flags competition. And we're skiing by then, by Thanksgiving, but most likely we will all get together over Thanksgiving and have this great experience there.
Now hold it longer because you want longer glide. Oh, Annie. You're on the line. Ooh. Look at these accountability buddies being helped.
All right, so that is kind of what dry land looks like.
Now hold it longer.
Not a lot of
You want
running.
longer glide.
We try not to do a ton of running. We do some, but not a ton of. The focus is mostly on technique. It would be great to get 3 to 4 inches of snow once, even in November, so we can head out to a soccer field and start to learn how to skate ski. But everyone starts looking awful. Like none of these kids look, this is the first time on skis. None of these kids look anywhere near where they end up at the end of the season. And so when we do start skiing, it is all about falling. It is all about silly because it's movements and technique that we haven't done. So we will start hopefully on a soccer field somewhere, just getting some nice flat technique work in. Once we start to get snow, there's kind of 2 options. And I say snow because, well, there's 2 kinds of snow. There's natural snow, which we love. The picture on the left is a portion of our groomed trail at Starring Lake Park. The city does a fabulous job of working through a course that we have and cleaning up the course. And we have grooming equipment down in the dog park. If you've ever been down in the dog park at Starring, you've seen a building there. And if you've looked at it, it says EP Nordic. And you might be wondering, what is that doing there at Starring Lake Park? And it is our grooming equipment. We have a really nice snowmobile and grooming equipment that we use to groom our trails at Starring. We have only skied there 1 day in the past 2 seasons. So hopefully this season breaks the mold. But when we are on natural snow, we ski a lot at Starring. But we also ski, and the reason the picture on the right looks so hazy is because that is the artificial snow being made. And this has been the majority of our last 2 seasons, has been on artificial snow at Highland or Elm Creek or Theodore Worth. Most of our practices that are going to be on artificial snow are going to be at Highland. And that is not as fun of a way to have your first season as a Nordic skier, just being at Highland. So I've had a lot of empathy for the kids who have started Nordic skiing these last couple years because they've had 1 day at Starring Lake. And the fun part about Starring Lake is finding a portion of the trail with a jump or a steep hill and doing that over and over and over again. And we coaches know to stay away from the fun parts because kids need to have fun in this sport, learning how to just enjoy being outside. So we really want that natural snow so that our kids have a great experience and have fun learning how to ski. But these practices at Highland are super valuable as well. We are very...
Happy birthday. Yay.
All right, so these videos, as you can see, are at night. And it's cold sometimes at night. The We are a seventh grade through 12th grade program. And sixth graders can also ski, but we officially say seventh grade through 12th grade because those are the grades that are racing. Those are the teams that are, or the ages that are racing. Sixth graders, you are here to ski, and that is it, which makes it super fun for sixth graders. But these night practices, we have a essentially, well, okay, so here is how, if we don't have natural snow, we have to, as a team, and all the other teams in the metro have to submit their preferred practice slots to the Three Rivers Park District. They are the ones who manage the trails at Elm Creek and at Highland. And so we have to, by uh, it's I think it's Wednesday night at 8 p.m. submit what we want our practice schedule to look like for the following week. And so all the teams are competing for snow time. It's like rink time for hockey. It's very competitive. Um, and one of the things that we noticed is no one wants a night practice. They want to practice right after school. So a lot of the other ski programs will have practice right after school. However, we kind of hold this Monday night 6:15 to 7:45 practice at Highland because it is an opportunity for our middle school and high school kids to be together. That is really important to us in our program. We don't really have an opportunity to ski right after school, getting out at 4:07. And so the middle school, if the middle school were to take a bus to meet up with the high school at Starring or at Highland, it would be dark and we would be done. So this 6:15 to 7:45 Monday night practice is everyone's favorite practice because it's fun, because it's at dark. Usually the wind is down and it's calm and beautiful. And so this Monday night practice is super important. Now, I've a lot of concern about joining Nordic is because kids hear about the morning practices. Ooh, the morning practices. Um, Traditionally, we have a Monday night practice. We have let me get to a typical week. This is a typical week if there ever was a typical week in Nordic skiing, which there isn't. Um, Monday night practice at Highland. Let's say we have a Tuesday race at Elm Creek. Wednesday morning, we're at Highland, and Thursday, that just could be a different day. And then Friday is train on your own or an IGD day. I'm not going to go into IGD train on your own days because that really doesn't impact middle school. That's more of a high school thing. So we end up having kind of a guaranteed 3 days to ski. Monday night, Wednesday morning, and a race. Let's say that the race is Wednesday, and we do have quite a few Wednesday races this year. We will have Monday night, we will have Tuesday train on your own or train at Starring, the Wednesday race, and then maybe a Thursday morning practice. So don't. Um, the one thing that we can say is Monday night will be practice. We don't have any races on Mondays, and therefore Monday night will always be practice. Um, and the morning practice is going to fluctuate. So I heard a concern from a kid today. Well, I have confirmation on Wednesday morning, so I can't do Nordic. Well, most of our races this year are on Wednesdays, so we would not have practice on Wednesday morning. And so practice weeks can also look like this. Okay. If we have natural snow, we can get to Glen Lake and ski, or the high school can do that, and we can wax our skis because we have morning practice and then a Thursday race. If we have snow, EPHS is at Starring. CMS, we wouldn't have practice, but then we would have practice Saturday morning. So this is hopefully like we do have natural snow and it would be great. So all of this to say, don't not do Nordic because there's a day in which you can't attend because it changes a lot. I mentioned there are some waxing days. We will have some waxing days. So, okay, so Coach Malone, you said CMS is kind of guaranteed 3 days of skiing a week. The fourth day, would be a waxing day. Whenever we are prepping our skis for whatever the temperature of the snow is for that week's training or for the next race. So we end up waxing every week or every other week, it ends up being. The morning practices, 6:15 to 7:45, and for the night practices, there's always a bus from the high school that leaves at 5:45. So 5:45 p.m. or 5:45 a.m. for the 6:15 practice. And then the 6:15 practice, there's always a bus back to the high school or on the night practice. On the morning practice, the bus will head back to CMS, drop the CMS kids. I will have breakfast for the kids. The team funds breakfast for the kids at the middle school, and so then we will hang out. We generally have about an hour for breakfast. Kids can shower. I can open up the showers. Kids dress. It's fun. So the night and morning practice will send more detail out, but just know they're super important because that is the best time we have together. We also have pasta dinners. There's two of them that are on the schedule. And so those are there. We have skier of the week. We can see a couple athletes in the middle that have Team USA gear. And that is the skier of the week, which many middle school kids get because they improve so much throughout the season. Meets are usually Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays. They tend not to be on Mondays. In December, they're at 3:30 p.m. In January, they are at 4 p.m., with the exception of a couple that are varsity only races. Generally, we are at Highland or Elm Creek. We much prefer to be at Highland because it's closer and we think it's a better trail. For skiing. Spectators, parents really like Elm Creek because you get to see your kid like 4 times. If we do have natural snow, we can be at Baker or Carver as well, which are great ski trails. But again, you need a lot of snow. For those trails to open up and for our starring trails to open up, we need about a foot of snow that we then groom down to about 4 inches. And so the more snow, the better. But we do need about a foot of snow before we're able to groom. The races are 3.1 kilometers. They are a 5K. This is at Elm Creek. This is a 2-lap course. And these races, if it's snowing like this, you might think, oh my gosh, that's so fun and so beautiful. What a great race. But new snow is slow snow. So it's actually makes the course really slow, but it's pretty and we like it. And again, your kids are going to be working up to racing. There are kids who start the season who we say, we're not ready yet. And we'll get to that after this slide. In Nordic skiing, there are 3 levels. There's varsity, which is the top 14, JV1, which is the next 14, and then JV2, which is the remainder of the team. And your kid can travel kind of in between them for a while. My son Connor, who's a freshman, was varsity for skate for a little bit, but not for classic. So he was JV1 for classic. He was varsity for skate, these 2 techniques that we have. And then as the season went on, he did move up to varsity for both. So your kid can fluctuate between JV1, JV2, but by mid-season, we kind of figure out where kids are, and that's kind of where they will remain. And it is not uncommon for middle school kids to be into that JV1 or even varsity spot. So by the end of the season, I guarantee we will have middle school kids in the varsity. In fact, the past 2 or 3 seasons, we've had 2 or 3, well, 2 boys and 2 girls letter in the previous years. So a great opportunity to get varsity experience as an 8th grader, which is pretty cool. Those of you who ran cross country, you've seen, or you've heard me talk about this in the past. This is kind of our philosophy as coaches and where your kids are going to be. I'm going to start with what Nordic isn't. Nordic is not a sport where you can show up and just because you have talent, you're going to be good. They're in running, just as a comparison, because there's so many kids who run cross country who are coming off their cross country season and coming into Nordic. There's so many kids that can just show up to track or cross country and just be good because they have some skill. That's not the case in Nordic skiing. When we are learning to ski, you are trying to master technique. And that little thought bubble over there, effort versus form. In running, generally, if you move your hands faster and put more effort into it, you'll run faster. That's not the case in Nordic skiing. If you put too much effort and you're going into overdrive and you're trying to just pump, pump, push, push as hard as you can, your form is going to be really inefficient and you're not going to be moving along at a pace that works and you're going to blow up. So if you think about if you've ever parents who drive, if you've ever started driving with your car shifted into low gear, it'll go, but at some point you hear it and you're like, "Oh, this doesn't feel right." And then if you continued to drive like that, your car would have some issues. Your engine would have some issues. It would overheat. That is how skiing is. You have to master the technique. You have to get good enough at the technique. And we say, in order to ski fast, you have to ski with good technique slowly. So the learning to ski base of the pyramid is much longer into the season than most kids would want. That doesn't mean they're not enjoying themselves. That doesn't mean they're not seeing improvement. It just means that of there's two different techniques. There's skate technique and there's classic technique. And we're teaching them both. And so kids who come to us with no ski experience um, can do just fine with kids who have been skiing for a while. They're all having to learn the technique. And for kids who have been skiing, they might have to unlearn some technique. Then, when we're learning to race, you've mastered the technique enough where now you can put some effort into it. And now you can start to push yourself. Um, but again, if you keep that foot to the pedal the entire time, your form is going to break down. And so when we talk to kids in cross country running or racing, it's all about go, 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 push, push, push. But in skiing, it's slow down your RPMs, focus on glide. And so it's a different method to learning to race. We got to focus on technique. And then racing to win, and skiers are made in the off season. There's summer training, which we can talk about at the end of the season. But these are kind of the phases, and kids are in these phases longer in skiing than they could be in running. And again, that's just because you have to learn the technique. Um,
Okay.
the video in this bottom right that I'm rewinding, this is a double pole technique. And this is one of the ways that we do classic skiing. You can see on the ground, there's little tracks, there's lines. And so it's kind of the reverse of railroad tracks. If you would take railroad tracks and put them upside down and drag them in the snow, that's what our classic tracks look like. They're lines in the snow that our skis settle in, and then that is what guides us on the trail. So these skiers are about to start a double pole. And then what's happening in this bottom left is skate skiing, which is a different technique, which is more like rollerblading, hockey skating.
Up, better girl on E. Good job, Logan. Come on, Logan. Wax your skis next year. Ooh, Foos. Come on, Foos. You got it. You got it, Foos. Get into that V1. Keep your legs skating. Use your legs. Use your legs.
Notice how it's not go, go, go. It's here's some technique work. The way that races work is kids just go in kind of a continuous loop. So if you're nervous about starting something and maybe not feeling like, oh, that's going to be super embarrassing, like the girl who fell in this video. Oh my gosh, that's going to be super embarrassing. Everyone's going to know I'm slow or whatever. That's not how Nordic skiing works. We don't line kids up like in cross country and say ready, set, go, and the first person who finishes wins and the last person does not. The way that we set them up is um, there's a clock. Everyone has a start time on a clock, and you go when your start time is. And so there are kids on the course the entire time. So it's not obvious who's winning and it's not obvious who's losing or not skiing super fast because the person who starts at 4 minutes might get passed by someone who starts at 8 minutes. Like nobody knows until the results come out. And so, as we get closer to races, kids get really nervous if they're not feeling super confident, but we don't have to worry about that because no one can tell where you are. It's not obvious who's doing great, and it's not obvious who might be having a rough day. So this is 2 seasons ago. We had an individual state champ. His name was Ben Bradabo. He is now skiing out east at Vermont, I believe. It's just something cool to show you.
Got it, Daddy, let's go.
Now this is a come from behind. Benin is this dude. I don't know if you can see, but he kind of looks like he's behind, but he's a finisher. So that is up at Giants Ridge. A lot of families who downhill ski might have been to Giants Ridge, but they have amazing ski trails as well. Transportation. We get early releases for our meets. We have a CMS specific bus that will bring our kids to our meets. There is a team bus and a team trailer. The district provides us with a bus and a trailer for the season. That is where we store our skis for the majority of the season, is on the high school bus. And kids just arrive from the middle school bus, grab their skis off the high school bus, and this is just for meets. But it's a good system. We're very lucky to have that trailer where we can keep all of our skis. We do, because we have a separate CMS bus when we go to meets, we drop at CMS after the meets, and we drop at CMS after the morning practice, but the night practice departs and returns from the high school. Equipment, we have a team lottery, which is the second week of practice at Eden Prairie High School. So middle school kids and freshmen are eligible for the team equipment. And so that's a pair of skate skis and poles and a pair of classic skis and poles. The poles are different lengths, the skis are different lengths and different flexes. Um, and so for equipment, we are able to get close to 70 kids on our team. That's 140 pairs of skis set with equipment, and it is all based on weight. But we have invested a lot of money, both the middle school and high school has invested a lot of money, especially into the lower weights, the tiny tykes, the 80 to 100 pounders, which is a majority of our middle school team. We've invested a lot of money because we realize that having kids learn to ski sooner is super valuable. So you can rely, for the most part, on getting skate skis and classic skis. Poles, sometimes we do run out of poles, although I know Coach Boonstra, who is the high school head coach, went and ordered more poles for the tiny tykes as well. The one thing you do need to purchase is combi boots. And in the next slide, I'll show you some examples and some good places to get. Combi boots work for both classic skiing and skate skiing. The varsity kids, if they take skiing really seriously, there are separate skate boots and classic boots. But 99% of kids through middle school and even into their um, first year or two at high school are in combi boots, which work well for both. Lobster lobster claws are a type of mitten that you also need to invest in. And then there's optional team jackets and pants as well. You can see if you've been paying attention to the pictures of the kids, the black pants with the EP on it and this black EP or the red and black EP jacket is a team. Um, it's a team jacket, but it is not required. You don't have to have it. On the left, I've been talking about skate and classic. So on the left is classic
Down the
skiing.
hill, I see bib number 338, and 338 being Benin Bratibo. Ooh, skiing for Lopet Nordic Racing.
Pretty good pronunciation.
This is maybe.
So that's classic skiing, and this is skate skiing, which is more similar to rollerblading and so that's skate skiing. So here are the things that you want to be looking for if your kid is excited about skiing and they want to do it. These are kind of the three things that make life super easy. On the left is a combi boot. This is a cross-country ski boot. There are ski shops, Gear West, Pioneer Midwest, Finn Sisu. There's really good ski shops, Hoygards. That will get you exactly what you need and give you a discount. If you go to Dick's or REI, they're likely not going to give you a team discount because they're not a ski specific shop. The lobster claws are on the right. Those are mittens where um, your fingers are kind of separated into two pockets or three pockets, I suppose. Your thumb and then the other four fingers are split, and that keeps your fingers much warmer. And then ski pants are really important because at races, you are taking off your pants to reveal your super cool race suit, and you don't want to have to take your boots off. So on the ski pants to the left, you can see the zipper goes up mid shin or even just under the knee. That's to allow your boot to get through your pant leg without needing to take your boot off, which is an awful experience if you need to do that at a race. And some zip all the way up the side of your leg up to your hip, so you can just kind of peel the pants off. So these are the things that would be the bare minimums needed. Oh, these pictures are not showing up. That's sweet. Right now, I was looking at a website. Let's minimize this if I can figure it out. There's a website that I often share called skiessentials.com. It has really good deals on combi boots. And right now, it's better deals than you would get at Gear West. So Ski Essentials, they're out in New Hampshire. I've ordered a lot of stuff from them. They're great. And if you go to cross country boots and click combi boots, the prices are really strong right now. A combi boot for and there's different levels, there's different quality of boots but for your kids to get this Alpina race boot at 129 is a great deal. This combi boot at 139 is a great deal. This is the boot that my son or my kids Connor and Ryan have. This is their combi boot for 139. And so you can get really good 149 for these Rossignol cross country boots. So you can get some good deals there. Gear West is where we really want our family shopping because that's where we buy all of our equipment and they are very good to us. And so we want to send our business to them. But like I said, you can get some pretty great deals at Ski Essentials right now. The combi boots and different shops have different brands that they tend to sell. Gear West is a big Solomon. That's where the Solomon reps like to live there. So you can get combi boots as well, and you'll get a team discount. So the price may end up about the same, but you're looking at And these are really expensive boots. These carbon ones are very expensive. The most expensive ones are like $800. Those are crazy. Um, so you just need a combi boot. These junior sizes tend to be really good deals, um, but they're pretty small. Um, it's just whatever works for you, but it needs to be a combi boot. One thing that is different than running is these boots will fit your kid as long as they fit in their, as long as they fit the kid. So you don't need to buy new boots every year. If you're in running, you need to buy a new pair of running shoes in the fall for cross country, in the winter when cross country's done for training over the winter, but you should be skiing. So a new pair in the spring and a new pair over the summer. So you need four pairs of running shoes if you're running year round. You just need one pair of combi boots, and that will last as many seasons as your kid fits in them. So um, if you do go the ski essentials route, just make sure that it's a combi boot. If you go to any of the ski shops, but we always like to send our families to Gear West because they give us amazing deals when we buy equipment as a team, and they give you a team discount as well. Just go in, and if you say you're skiing for Eden Prairie, they know exactly what you need. They will not sell you the wrong thing. It's up in Long Lake, Wayzata area. It's an amazing place to go. So, um, that is on equipment, and they also have the gloves and the pants and stuff like that that you might want as well. And you can see by the time kids get into their varsity and they turn into our section team and our state qualifying teams, they get the jacket, and this jacket will not change in the years that your kid is skiing. This has been the design for close to 20 years now. So this design will not change. High school versus middle school. What's the difference? High schoolers have to purchase skis. Once you're a sophomore, junior, senior, if you're skiing, you are no longer eligible for the team equipment. The team equipment, we spend that money to get kids into the sport. And then when you get to high school, and most kids are done growing, and then it makes sense to buy equipment. Because we buy middle of the road equipment, and once your kid has more years of experience and maybe pushing into that racing to win category, they're going to want better equipment. Um, and so high school kids, sophomores, juniors, seniors, they have to purchase skis. There's more practices. Um, they're going to practice 6 days a week, and there's training trips. There's two training trips, which our middle school kids do not attend. There's one in December that goes out to Ironwood, Michigan. There's another one over winter break that heads up to Trejo, Wisconsin, and we go to the Berkey Trails there and ski there. So, but otherwise, middle school kids are full participants in the program. They get the better end of the deal in terms, and there is a fundraiser that comes through the Nordic team. There's a lot of equipment costs, there's a lot of waxing costs. And so there is a fundraiser that will happen in December, and kids actually really enjoy the fundraiser because they're very incentivized to sell. Our team and our fundraising company has decided to take a pretty high percentage of our, or not like a majority percentage, but a pretty decent chunk of our fundraising costs and give it back to the kids in incentives to motivate them to sell because that seems to work really well. And middle school kids, especially, um, it's like, hey, this is a job I can have, and I can make a few $100 if I sell a lot of cards. So we will hear more about that um, once the season starts. So what's the deal with sixth grade? Sixth grade, you are eternally in the learning to ski phase this year. You cannot race against high school kids, and because we are in a high school sport, essentially racing high schoolers, there's no, if you remember, there's varsity, JV1, and JV2. Um, there's no grade differentials. And because of that, sixth graders cannot participate because that would activate their eligibility, and then you couldn't participate in 12th grade. So they just say no sixth graders. So your job is essentially to ski, to learn to ski. At the races, once you get comfortable skiing, we will, like 20 minutes before the other races start, when everyone else is doing a warm up, I'll send you on a lap and say, hey, time yourself and we'll see like where we are. So we do kind of encourage a little bit of competition, but really it's very unofficial. They can't officially race. And so your job this season is just to learn to ski and just bum around during um, during practice and just learn. So it's super fun to be a sixth grader because you don't have the potential anxiety of racing. You're just here to learn to ski, which is great. And for the most part, middle school kids, you will find that Coach Malone's a lot more chill um, during Nordic season than cross country or track, especially track. The reason being is our focus is so much more. I get to coach so much more. There's less organization. There's less. We just get to sit back and there's so much improvement that it makes it so enjoyable to coach that we really just um, we focus on improvement, and that's what makes the sport so much fun. And we get to be outside in the winter, which is great. Um, One of the things that sixth graders do not have to do is have a sports physical to register. So, for those of you who have been looking around um, My Payments Plus to see where do I register my kid, only sixth graders will be able to register for CMS Nordic. Um, that is a lower cost. You're not registering for the high school team, but you're on roster essentially. You're just not racing. And so your cost is lower because you officially cannot sign up for a high school sport. Seventh and eighth graders, you need a sports physical because you are now a part of the Minnesota State High School League sport. You're in a seventh through 12th grade sport. And so you do need a sports physical. That sports physical needs to get to me so I can get it to Connie Ewing, our student activities coordinator at the middle school. And then she will enter your sports physical in our system, and that will allow you to register on My Payments Plus. So you can't even put Nordic skiing in your cart if a sports physical is not on file. And they're good for 3 years. So if you do it in seventh grade, you won't need it again until your sophomore year, and then that'll take care of your um, you only need two sports physicals then. So it's actually a good idea to get it in seventh grade. So um, at this point, I'm just going to open it up to questions and answers. I see in the chat, sixth graders do get to attend meets, yes, but those are training days instead of race days. So our assistant middle school coaches will be taking the sixth graders and working on them with technique during the races. So they'll be skiing and then they'll get kind of their technique work and their coaching when the rest of the team is warming up. And then when the races start, then sixth graders are on their own and they're like, all right, go bum around, go ski around, go cheer for your teammates. So, yes, good point. Thank you. Any other questions? You can. When is it too cold to practice? It's really a there are some state high school league guidelines for practice and races, and they are like -20 wind chill and -35 wind chill. -35 is for practice, -20, I believe, is for races. And then there's air temperature guidelines as well. If it is below zero, there are some restrictions there as well. So and I'm the communications coordinator for the entire team. So Coach Boonstra, who's the high school coach, and I will discuss things on Saturday or at the latest Sunday morning. It really depends on when Three Rivers gets back to us with the schedule, and we'll look at the weather. And if we think it's going to be super cold, we'll kind of say we are looking at the weather and Wednesday morning practice. It's looking like it's going to be -5. That'll be a TBD. We're always hopeful. We're never going to cancel it a few days in advance, unless there's some super polar vortex coming. But there are state high school league rules that we have to follow, and so you can't just take your salt tablets and go out there and gut it out. We're not allowed to do that. Um, how do we educate on keeping skin safe, frostbite? There's products out there. The best product is called Warm Skin. It is a Some people will just use Vaseline and just rub it on their face, and that blocks the wind. Warm Skin is a little less goopy and designed specifically to kind of allow moisture out if you're sweating, but to block the wind. So um, that's the best product out there. There are buffs also that sometimes when we are skiing, I don't know if this will zoom in, but around this dude's neck, um, in the maroon is a buff. And everyone who does sells 10 cards in the fundraiser gets a team buff. And those buffs are often worn up above the nose. There are days in which we say, like this must have been a warmish day because the girls are racing in headbands. There are days when it is um, hats only races, buffs over your nose. I'm trying to see if there's any other pictures. Here's a picture of a kid wearing a buff kind of up over his chin, but those buffs can be pulled above your nose as well, and they're not so tight that you can't breathe. That's probably the best picture that we're going to get. Um, do you post reminds when the CMS buses are expected to return from meets? Yes, I always intend on doing that. I do uh, post that. There's always like one race. I didn't do it once for cross country, and I didn't. Uh, I always tried to do it. That is my intention. So yes, CMS will be using the Remind app. High schoolers and all kids are encouraged to get into the group me once the season starts, and I'll communicate that um, group me information for the kids. So there's a kids group me, there's a parents group me, and then there's the CMS Remind for just specifics stuff. When does the season end? The state meet is Valentine's Day week. The final race for non-state kids is going to be, oh, that's a really great opportunity to go and show the high school website. My website, the CMS website, is just to get you to the season. If you Google EP Nordic, the first hit is going to be the high school's team, but it's really everyone's team. It's where you, families, and athletes will go once the season starts. This is where you get your information. So if we scroll down, we have the EP Nordic ski race schedule and the weekly Nordic emails. I send out the weekly Nordic emails on Sundays, and it's always going to be the same link. So this is a link you could bookmark or add as a button on your phone. I'm just starting to work through what it's going to be upcoming, but the race schedule is out and available right now. Um, we're doing the new skier info meeting right now. The first day of practice is the 10th. There's a couple parent social gatherings at local establishments that we like to have. We put those on the schedule. That's really a captain's parents thing that organizes that, but it's better if people know them in advance. Net the Tuesday of it's the 11th, not the 12th, but the Tuesday of the first week of practice is the parent athlete coach meeting at the high school. And then we get down to the races, and the final race is January 29th for JV skiers. After school practices, you will meet in my room 802, which is right by the cafeteria. We'll probably meet in the cafeteria the first day as well. Is there a bus back to the high school after the? Yes, there is a bus back to the high school after the morning practices. It just stops at the middle school first. So at 5:45, the bus takes off, both morning and evening. practices. 5:45, the bus leaves the high school. On the way back to the high school for evening practices, it will not stop at the middle school because drop off and pickup is at the high school on night practice. But for Wednesday morning or Tuesday morning or Thursday morning or whenever the morning, those they will stop the middle school first and then go to the high school. Can we drop off at Highland for morning practices and still have our skiers ride the bus to school? Yes, absolutely. We can shuttle. Middle schoolers get to go to the pasta dinners. Yes, the pasta dinners are at the middle school. We did that because high schoolers can drive themselves or get rides with teammates. Um, and we have a couple pasta dinners on the schedule already. Tuesday, January 20th and Tuesday, January 9th are the two scheduled pasta dinners, the full team pasta dinners. The section teams later in the season will do their own as well. But yes, they are in the CMS cafeteria. In the next couple weeks, I think if you have questions, please reach out to me. The big thing that is kind of the big stressful event in um, the first couple weeks of practice is the ski lottery. It's a $25 rental fee. You just bring a check for $25. That helps offset some of the cost of repairing and replacing equipment. It's Thursday, November 20th. And so we bus over to the high school after school and then we figure out what equipment um, we will get your kid. All right. If you can stick around if you would like to see if there's any other questions asked. Um, but at this point, I'll just take questions and we can go from there. Otherwise, you're good to go.
Mr. Malone, since this is a high school sport, do the middle schoolers have the same requirements in terms of missing assignments or if they're at a doctor's appointment that the high schoolers do?
Um, Grade wise, we tend not to have big issues with our Nordic kids. They're signing up to go outside in the cold, so they tend to be pretty responsible about grades. I know there is concern about if my kid is not at school the day of a meet, like they have an appointment, they can't participate. No, we don't do that.
Okay,
So that is not,
thank you.
so I don't anticipate kids are skipping. That's more of a skipping deterrent than it is. And it's also it's a high school issue amongst the high school coaches association. So does equipment need to stay on the high school trailer or can you bring it home? We really encourage kids whenever the last time we're going to see kids. So let's say we have Monday night practice, Tuesday race, Wednesday um, morning practice, and that's the last time that we're going to see kids for whatever reason. We don't have a practice slot Wednesday or Thursday, and it's only natural snow. There are going to be days that are train on your own days, um, and those are kind of flexible. It's fairly rare that this happens, but we'll be like, okay, over the next 3 days, ski twice. And so we want kids to bring their skis home. And you might think, um, my kid's not going to want to go out and ski, but they will. They will fall in love with it and they do make the extra effort and they do want to go ski with their friends because it's so much more fun than running um, to do with your friends because you fall and you giggle and you laugh and hey, let's race. And, like everyone just has so much fun. It's so much more social, the act of skiing itself. And so your kids are gonna want to have their skis so they can go out and do this. Oh, and they will. One thing I forgot to mention. As part of the team, the high school has to provide a gym. Um, for volleyball and for basketball. The high school has to provide fields for soccer and lacrosse and football and softball and baseball. And they have to provide a skiing facility for us. And so there's two ways that the school district does that. One of them is by purchasing this really nice grooming equipment and the snowmobile, but they also purchase Three Rivers Park's trail passes for us. And so every kid will receive one of those so that they can go to Highland, they can go to Elm Creek on train on your own days and go ski on their own. Do sixth graders ride the bus with the team to meets? Yes, they get out of school early. Yes, that is also an up to each family type thing. Um, I will excuse all the kids on roster for the races unless I know that they're not attending the race. So there are some kids that are some sixth graders are like, "Ooh, I have, advanced something seventh hour," and we get out in the middle of sixth hour for class. I don't want to miss it um, for the races. I understand that, and with middle school skiing 3 or 4 days, every practice really matters, but so does school. And so I'm not going to tell you you have to do anything either way. But yes, sixth graders, just like the seventh and eighth graders, are a part of the team. They do everything that everyone else does. Um, they just cannot throw a bib on and go race against the other people. The CMS Nordic Remind app is available. It's just EP Nordic, so you can just add another um, class in the Remind app. And let me double check to make sure that it's EP Nordic and not CMS Nordic, but I'm fairly certain it's EP Nordic. Yep, the Remind code is just EP Nordic for Remind. So you can just add a class and join EP Nordic. Sports physical for seventh and eighth graders and high schoolers. A sports physical is something that your child's pediatrician would fill out. That essentially just says that they don't have any. Um, it's more. It's more like for serious like heart issues or any reason why they shouldn't be participating in a strenuous activity. Um, you can all pediatricians fill these out all the time. If you call your pediatrician and just say, "Hey, we just had a well child visit in September. Can you fill out a sports physical for my child?" They're probably more than willing to do that. You might not need um, an appointment if they've been seen somewhat recently. But that's going to be based on your pediatrician. You're not going to be able to say and call and say, "Mr. Malone said that you would do this." It just depends um, on the pediatrician and maybe that day. I do know though that sports medicine places like TCO and TRIA will also do sports physicals. And so it's really not an invasive physical like your kids might hate participating in. It is just let's listen to your heart. Let's knock you on the knee a couple times and see if your reflexes are good, and that's about it. So it's a really low bar to meet, but it is something that is required by the Minnesota State High School League to participate in because they have insurance, our team has insurance, our district has insurance, and so we need to at least guarantee that kids have um, have met the bare minimum for participation. So Um, can the kids? Oh, yes. Yeah, the um, Remind app will not be available for athletes until I send the list of it's a per season thing. So for every season, like last year in track, Casa got the Remind app because she was in track. And then they pull it, they wipe it, they remove it every summer. And so I need to let the tech department to permit kids to download the Remind app, and that's based on roster. So as soon as I get a roster, then they'll get it. So, um, My Health for Teens dumps them as well, and they're really good for getting kids in those quickly. That is in the chat. My Health for Teens. Never heard of it. It's good to have Molly on the call so she can give us that. Okay. Um, Kind of I don't know, a final statement is I think the people who start Nordic tend to enjoy it in a way that they might not enjoy some other strenuous activities. Nordic's hard. Learning the technique is hard, and you're going to get your heart rate up. But being outside, being active, being comfortable in the snow, being able to fly around, it's just a totally different appreciation of where we live and the climate that we have remaining that is going to give us some snow. So it's just a wonderful. If your kid's done a sport with me, I hope that they've seen value in the team aspect. There's kids can do all sorts of sports and activities and have a great time. Um, but I think uh, when you choose to do something hard, there's so much more reward in it. And there's community racers. There are people that are skiing and doing the Berkey race into their 80s. It's crazy. So it's definitely a lifelong sport. Um, and if you look at the coaching staff, when you get and you meet the high school coaches, it's they're old. So you can ski and you can be really good. The more you ski, the more you ski, um, when you're a 20 something best shape of your life, you can get smoked by your coaches because they just have the technique. So it's a really great sport. I hope we all do it. Uh, okay. I see a question about Boulder. So out at Highland, there's course starts here and it goes and it does a little loop and then you do some of this and then there's a hill called Boulder which goes up like this and at the highest point it is as high as one of Highland's downhills, the far left downhill hill at Highland. You ski up to that point and um, then you go down it and it's just as steep going down and it's super fun. Kids love it. Um, I have stood at the top of that hill for 20 minutes with kids trying to urge them on. And once they do it, they love it, but it's a scary thing. JV2 kids will not ski Boulder until the last race of the season. Um, and sometimes that's a team by team decision. We ski at Highland enough. We ski at Highland Monday night, Wednesday morning. And so we tend to encourage and push our kids in practice to do it. So when they do it in the race, it's not as frightening and scary. But yes, eventually it will be for you, Ryan. I think we've hit everything that I wanted to. Oh, this cool hat you'll be able to order. There's team parent stuff you can order. But thank you all so much. Um, Taylor is asking, can I race part-time like I did for, okay, so you're a sixth grader, so no, but here's what we do with our sixth graders. Once the sixth graders learn to ski enough, I'll say, who wants to go ski the race course? And we're going to start you at 4:10 or 3:10. The other races start at 3:30. You're going to do the course, but we're going to start you at 3:10. So we'll line you up. We'll say ready, set, go. You go ski the race course and you come back. You ski the same course that they do. Um, and then we'll get your time when you finish. One thing I forgot to say, oh my God, regarding the races. as I said, when you are in that pyramid and you're in the learning to ski, you still do the races, but you're just skiing during a race. Again, you don't have the mastery of the technique to put in that effort versus form. You can't race because you don't have good enough form yet. You don't have good enough technique. So kids who are super nervous, I'm like, you're not racing. You're just going on a ski during a race. And most of the kids that you're going to be by, because it's varsity JV1, JV2, are also they're at your level. So you're going to find a buddy and you're going to ski with them. You're going to chat. And you're just going to learn how to ski. It's just during a race. But sixth graders cannot be racing with a bib and be timed and do all that. We can line you up and say ready, set, go and do our time trial. Um, but that is my answer to that question, Taylor. Great question. I love kids who want to race. Thank you, everyone. It is going to be a fun season. Coach Molly is right. Thank you, Don. Happy to see you here. You got it, Joey. Hopefully, Colin's with us.